Hello and welcome to Newsweek South Asia, the program which exposes Pakistan's role and nexus in promoting global terrorism and its funding. Here are the headlines. Indian security forces continue to battle Pakistan-backed terrorists. Terror and chaos unleashed in parts of Afghanistan. US suspends military training programs for Pakistani officers. And FATF asks Pakistan to enact appropriate laws to stop terror funding. The Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir has always been a target of Pakistan-backed terrorists who infiltrate the country to spread terror and brainwash young Kashmiris. Newsweek South Asia has a report.
Kashmir, often called heaven on earth, has been witnessing immense bloodshed because of the malicious intentions of Pakistan to create a kind of proxy war in the state. To create instability, Pakistan not only infiltrates terrorists into the Indian side of the border, but also manages to sneak in weapons which they use to create mayhem in the valley. Recently, after a tip-off about presence of militants in Rafiabad town in the strife-torn province, a large-scale search operation was launched. A gunfight broke after the militants fired upon the security forces, during which the militants were eliminated. As many as 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 pistol and a large amount of warlike and sustenance stores were recovered from the encounter site.
In the ensuing firefight, over several hours, security forces eliminated 5 heavily armed terrorists. On detailed search of the area, 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 pistol, and large amount of warlike and sustenance stores were recovered.
Another encounter broke out in Batmalu area near Srinagar. The security forces had received information about a militant hideout, which led to a search operation that was led by the Jammu and Kashmir Police, Special Operations Group and the CRPF. Bullets started flying as soon as the militants opened fire, which led to a soldier being martyred and 2 others getting injured. The operation was successful as security forces managed to corner Lashkar commander Naved Jat and 2 of his accomplices.
देर रात जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस को एक स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन मिला था रिगार्डिंग प्रेजेंस ऑफ मिलिटेंट इन दिस बटमालू एरिया में, और उसी के चलते हुए इनिशियल सर्चेस की गई थी जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस और सीआरपी के साथ। उसी इनिशियल सर्चेस में हम लोगों ने एक हाइड आउट बस्ट करा है और इनिशियल कार्रवाई के दौरान एक्सचेंज ऑफ फायर हुआ है जिसमें मिलिटेंट जख्मी हुआ है और अभी इस इलाके का मुहासरा हो रखा है और सर्चेस जारी हैं। इस पूरे इंसिडेंट में हमारे सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के जो हैं 5 अफराद हैं वो तो जख्मी हुए हैं, जिनमें से एक को शहादत प्राप्त हुई है।
Pakistan, a failed state in terms of social and economic conditions, continues to invest in terrorism to create instability in neighboring India and Afghanistan. India's state of Jammu and Kashmir has always been a target of Pakistan since 1989, but so far, all their efforts have failed as the Indian security forces have managed to keep the devious plans of Pakistan in check.
Just months before the elections, Pakistan continues its plan to disrupt peace and stability in Afghanistan through unleashing terror attacks. Its strategic assets in Afghanistan, the Taliban and Haqqani network, with support from Pakistani agency ISI, organized some of the meanest form of terror attacks this week. We have a report.
The suicide attack outside the Afghanistan Election Commission is a glare example of what the anti-democratic forces led by Pakistan's ISI have planned ahead of the October polls in the war-torn nation. The attack left 1 policeman martyred while other was injured. According to Kabul police, the suicide bomber wanted to get inside of the office and kill more people.
از اینجا میخواست به طرف تظاهرات کننده ها بره و اونجا خود انفجار بتن. خوشبختانه از طرف پلیس شناسایی میشه. اینجا وقتی که ممانعت صورت میگیره یک دم خود انفجار میده. ما در کمربند اول پلیس ما اونجا حضور داشت، در اونجا انفجار میکنه، بدبختانه یک سرباز ما شهید میشه، یک سرباز ما زخمی میشه.
Afghanistan also saw another bomb blast, this time again targeting the minority Shiite area, where the Islamic State militants attacked an educational center. The latest attack was not claimed by any terror group, but previous attacks on the Shiite targets have been claimed by the Islamic State. The explosion targeting an educational center in the west of the Afghan capital tore through a large tent set up as a classroom in the courtyard, killing dozens of teenagers studying for a university entrance examination. As many as 48 people lost their lives, while 67 others were reportedly injured.
برادر ممی کرسی معود متعلم بود، اما امروز فعلا شهید شده، حال پیشش آمده.
تقریبا 22 نفر مجروح و 12 نفر شهید به شفاخانه استقلال از محل واقع انتقال داده شده که از جمله 5 نفر مجروحین از طرف دکتر سیبا وضعیتشان وخیم گفته شد.
But the most disturbing news came out of the Ghazni province as the city turned into a battlefield for the Afghan security forces and the Taliban. With both sides suffering heavy casualties, it is the residents of the city which remains caught in the increasingly dangerous situation.
تمام مرده‌ها و تروریست‌ها که بود چوک‌ها افکیده بود کلگیش و جنگ در داخل شهر عالم روان بود و دو منطقه ما چون در گرفته بود که چه فروشی بود یا چی بود یا مارکت‌ها بود. همیارن تقریبا چند منطقه وضعیت شهر غزنی خراب است، داخل شهر کل دکان‌ها بسته است.
The Taliban fighters who stormed into the city of Ghazni in a stark show of force killed at least 25 police officers and one journalist instantly. The surprising attack on the strategically important city of Ghazni is part of the Taliban's well-calculated strategy that entails enjoying the military initiative in the insurgency that has been weaning down the Afghan security forces while taking advantage of the insurgent safe havens in Pakistan. The Afghan Taliban's show of strength in Ghazni is reminiscent of a similar assault on Kunduz in 2015. Video footage showed destruction, smoke and dozens of bodies inside the Ghazni city after heavy clashes between the Afghan government forces and the Taliban insurgents to take control of the city.
لارې د امنیت په خاطر تلاشي او چک پاینټ ټول د خپل وطن خدمت په خاطر دا چک پاینټ کې شپه ورځ د خپل وطن د خپل خلکو د خدمت لپاره دلته ولاړ او وظیفه کوو.
But the Afghan and the US-backed security forces managed to gain control over large parts of the city. However, it only came after 100 members of the security forces and 20 civilians lost their lives. The battle also caused a loss to the terrorists, as around 200 of them got killed by the security forces. Pakistan did condemn the attacks, but its role in this particular attack and others is evident as those involved in them continue to get training and funding from Pakistan. The country is viewed as a supporter of terrorism. The Afghan Taliban and the other Pakistan proxies frequently orchestrate deadly attacks like this one on Afghanistan. President Ashraf Ghani blamed Pakistan for the unfortunate event. They believe Pakistan is the reason for most of the challenges confronting the Afghan state and its National Unity Government, NUG. Unless the Afghan people are allowed to own their country, the Pakistani military establishment will continue to toy with Afghan geography, resources and lives.
The US administration has started to withdraw scores of Pakistani officers from coveted training and educational programs that have been a hallmark of bilateral military relations for more than a decade, according to US officials. We have a report. According to media reports, this looks like one of the first known impacts from Trump's decision this year to suspend US security assistance to Pakistan to compel it to crack down on Islamic militants. Such cuts have never been reported earlier. The Pentagon and the Pakistani military did not comment directly on the decision or the internal deliberation, but defense corridor in both countries have mixed reactions on the issue.
The US has provided training to Pakistani military officials under a specific program. It is called IMET, international military education and training for the last many years. However, as of January this year, all security assistance to Pakistan has been suspended. The IMET program for Pakistani officers was also affected by this decision.
US officials said they were worried the decision could undermine a key trust-building measure. Pakistani officials warned it could push their military to further look to China or Russia for leadership training. The effective suspension of Pakistan from the US government's International Military Education and Training Program (IMET) will set off places that had been set aside for 66 Pakistani officers this year, said a Reuters report.
This definitely stopping of funds by the United States is a step further to what Donald Trump, president, when he took up his presidency, announced that Pakistan has played a game of lies and deceit with them, that they have pumped in so many billions of dollars, but Pakistan has never reciprocated in that. So this is a step in that furtherance of that policy.
The State Department spokesperson said IMET cancellations were valued at $2.41 million so far. At least 2 other programs have also been affected, the spokesperson said. It is unclear precisely what level of military cooperation still continues outside the IMET program beyond the top-level contacts between US and Pakistani military leaders.
Pakistan has to decide what to do. Pakistan may hit back in the way that they may go down to China, or they may even approach Russia for the trainings. And China, as you know, is very interested that Pakistan totally comes into its fold because of its China economic corridor. The corridor is so important to China that it wants total dependence of Pakistan on it. So this move will also push Pakistan towards China.
Report says the US military has traditionally sought to shield such educational programs from political tensions, arguing that the ties built by bringing foreign military officers to the United States pay long-term dividends. Trump, in his first tweet of 2018, slammed Pakistan, saying the country has rewarded past US aid with nothing but lies and deceit. Washington announced plans in January to suspend up to roughly $2 million in US security assistance to Pakistan. But weeks later, Pakistan's foreign secretary was quoted by local media saying that Islamabad had been told the United States would continue funding IMET programs.
The situation is such that Pakistan does not have much leeway, because as soon as Donald Trump assumed the presidency, the first thing was his message to Pakistan that, look, mend your ways. Now, as you know, it's nearly about 2 years and Pakistan has not really done anything to stop the Haqqani and the other networks that are operating over there. The suicide bomb attacks that are happening in Afghanistan, they have all been traced back to the ISI and these networks over there.
Officially allies in war against terror, Pakistan and the US have a complicated relationship bound by Washington's dependence on Pakistan to supply its troops in Afghanistan, but plagued by accusations Islamabad is playing a double game. Tensions have grown over US complaints that the Afghan Taliban militants and the Haqqani network that target American troops in Afghanistan were allowed to shelter on Pakistani soil. The Asia-Pacific Group on Money Laundering has urged Pakistan to enact appropriate laws enabling local officials to act upon requests of foreign countries to freeze illegal assets and make terrorism financing and money laundering extraditable offences. Newsweek South Asia takes a look.
Pointing out deficiencies in Pakistan's legal framework, the visiting APG team related with the Financial Action Task Force pointed out that this could hamper Pakistan's effective response on requests of mutual legal assistance by foreign countries in money laundering cases, officials said. According to media reports, the team stressed on the need for strengthening domestic legal framework by October this year.
So the Financial Action Task Force is an international body which is responsible for checking money laundering and terror financing. It is on a 1-week visit to Pakistan. Pakistan has already been placed on grey list by the FATF. Now FATF has got experts from various countries, in various domain experts, who are interacting with the government of Pakistan and its various organs to see that there are enough legislations and rules in Pakistan to prevent money laundering, to prevent terror financing or to take action against those who are involved in harboring terrorists. All these things are being looked into in detail.
The team also urged authorities to give predicate offence monitoring powers to the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan and National Accountability Bureau. The group's other areas of concerns were activities by non-profit organizations and narcotics trafficking.
The demand of now what they've told the Pakistan government is that you make rules so that your local agencies like the Pakistan Accountability Bureau and other agencies, they are able to take action against those who are involving terror financing or who are involved in money laundering or those who are helping the terrorist infrastructure or terrorists to stay in Pakistan.
The APG team visited Islamabad to assess legal and administrative arrangements for implementing the Financial Action Task Force recommendations for curbing money laundering and terrorism financing.
Pakistan is not going to heed to this request because Pakistan is using terrorism as an instrument of state policy. For it, terrorism has become a meaning or a means of showing its assertion. Pakistan is one of those rogue states which is using terrorism to tell the world that either you listen to us or we will do this. So they are using terrorism to threaten the world. They are using terrorism as a tool for accepting their point of view. So as long as this thinking process in Pakistan does not change, I don't think they'll heed to the request of the FATF.
During its third day of visit, the APG team discussed the status of implementation of the FATF recommendations on supervision of financial institutions, challenges posed by beneficial ownerships and trusts, the targeted financial sanctions against terrorism, and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and mutual legal assistance and extradition. According to media reports, the officials said that the APG team also expressed concerns about implementing recommendations on extradition of criminals involved in money laundering and terrorism financing.
The example is very clear. India has given a lot of evidence to Pakistan of its prominent terrorist leaders who are roaming freely in Pakistan. India wants them, India has given evidence, but Pakistan has taken no action. So similarly, when America has declared many terrorists in Pakistan as dreaded terrorists, most wanted terrorists and all these, but nothing has happened. They are roaming freely in Pakistan. You see Hafiz Saeed, or even you see Daud Ibrahim, who is very much wanted by India. But so Pakistan continues to shelter these terrorists because they are using them as pawns, they are using them as their strategic assets to create trouble in their neighborhood.
The FATF makes it mandatory for member countries to deny safe havens to individuals charged with financing of terrorism, terrorist acts or terrorist organizations. After discussions, the APG will prepare the second draft of technical compliance report before October, which can be improved upon during the mutual evaluation on-site visit scheduled for October.
And with that, we have come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We will be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Surbhi Sharma signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.